It is February 20th in the year 2024. This is a time that I've been anticipating since at least 2007. None of us know exactly what's going to happen, but what I am convinced is that the events that will be unfolding this year and next year will be significant, and it's possible that it can lead to what we have been calling World War III. There are some people that don't want to see this happen. I don't want to see it happen either, but I'm not convinced that there's really a lot that we can do to prevent it, because what I perceive this whole thing that I've been discussing for a while is something I've been calling, long-term viewers know this phrase, staged, managed World War III scenario. What do I mean by that? And why don't you hear this from Alex Jones? And why don't you hear this from others? Okay. The way that I look at it, all these players are in place for this event. And whatever's going to be happening, there's going to be some significant things this year and next year. And what is this season? It's solar maximum season. And I bet if we did studies on people having hookups now, having sex, having babies, that will be having babies, gym memberships, also fights, kids looking for fights, in the streets, I'm already seeing the signs of it. And in myself, as I saw a pretty lady at the mall and gave her my contact info and suggested maybe we have a local meetup sometime, if locals are into that sort of thing. I encourage you to start your own meetups. I encourage you to start your own channels. I encourage you to help your community and do something positive, because I do believe in God more so than I used to. And I do believe that God gave us this technology to do good things with it. So I am a little bit energized today, having gone to the gym and started a membership. I don't like the gym. I'm going to keep my commentary brief. I won't be spending much time in that sauna or locker room. We'll just leave it at that. My eyes almost went blind in the locker room. But I suggest that you get out there and you get active, get sun, lift weights, take supplements, even magnesium. Some of you are anti-pot and I've talked to a lot of people that have never consumed CBD and THC together. You've just heard of people getting blasted on weed. I want to be very clear. I quit marijuana for 3 years, and during that time period, it was very, very rough. When I came back to the internet, I came back with the occasional use of a CBD and a THC blend, which is highly relaxing. When I can't afford that, I feel stressed. That's what it is. And I get a little cranky, and I get a little sensitive. I'm a human being. I confess, I'm not a cyborg, and I don't ever want to become one. So I have some good news. The universe is responding to my attempts to reach the world in a larger way with my information. Okay, so in the coming videos, my focus will now be narrowed. You see, it may have been uncomfortable to hear some of the perspectives that I shared about my life, but it has been shared, and we need to move on with the news. This is going to be a year. Listen, if there was more interest when I went on some shows in the past regarding the solar flares, I would have kept at it, but there wasn't. But here we are, after I've had some rest for a few years, and I'm convinced that X marks the spot in 2025. And there's some additional things that I've discovered since that you can open up a new browser at the moment that I'm speaking and start doing some searching. Let me give you some clues. And while I don't agree with everything that he has to say, I'll still cite his work. You can do the same for me, right? So his name was Tom Horn. He passed away. He talked about the Essenes in 2025. He may have his own book, maybe on 2025. I'm not sure. He has made other predictions that may not have panned out. Did the Antichrist arrive in 2012? Well, I will say that since 2012, sometimes I wonder if our world did end. Relationships really took a deep dive downwards. So I got a positive comment the other day regarding some of the commentary that I've put out for many years regarding suicide prevention and the solar flares. And sometimes, myself included, I can be in a state to where I forget what I know about it, and then I can react emotionally, which is why, I try to stay off Facebook. I deactivate my account often. I deactivated my account for a few years, and I go back and forth. What I'm communicating to you now is similar to what I communicated to you in a video on overcoming online addiction. We get in the habit of looking at a lot of blue light, screens like this, watching movies, TV. Some people play a lot of video games. And when we're not out getting sun and we're not out in nature and we're surrounded by 5G and cell phones, it throws off our circadian rhythm. So now let's talk about the sun. So with the sun, you have more sex, more war, more unrest, more things are moving forward. Some people, we can speculate why, they might do more positive things when the sun is more active, while others, they may fall into drug addiction and suicide. Things change within the human brain. There is magnetite in the human brain. And so I would say when there's a combination of natural and unnatural electromagnetic radiation, so coming from the sun and other factors, also the moon reflecting the sun's energy, and then you have the unnatural, that is modern technologies, that which we know of, that which we don't know of. And I speculate the powers that be are beyond human, and that they, in their own little rooms of surveillance, as they observe mankind, it's kind of like Predator, the movie with Schwarzenegger. It's almost as if they could see our heat signature, but in this case, our emotions or our energy, or some put it loose. And when the sun is active, we become active sexually, violently, in other ways. And, I suspect that it's during those periods that our fields are stronger because of how the sun affects us. And so as a result of that, we can end up vampired on. It's almost as if like it's feeding season, if you will. And so what I've been speculating about is that the powers that be launch events when the sun is more active because of the way the humans on the ground react. Now, keep in mind the magnetite in the human brain, which was first cited and discussed in 1992 in a New York Times article, that they have discovered that migratory animals in the 60s, pigeons, whales, you see where I'm going with this? They use the Earth's magnetic field to navigate the magnetite in the brains of the animals. So humans have it too. And when the military and other technologies, they flip that on in the ocean, you have whales losing their direction and winding up, washed up on the shores. And then, of course, we also have situations in which there's a lot of dead fish in some cases. So people have speculated that that is what is going on there, along with magnetic north possibly moving. It's been discussed for years. And the magnetic field reversal, which could either be a quick one or a slow one. We're still in the slower phase, but anything could happen. In Islam, although a lot of Muslims don't even know their own book, kind of like some Christians, just keep that in your mind. There is the prophecy of the rising sun in the west, which sounds like a pole shift, which there's been a lot of books about a pole shift in our society. So what I will say is that we are heading towards this eclipse, and we are on the cusp of another staged event, and it could be another false flag. It seems like there's a cascade of things. I also, in just observing what I perceive to be something called entity jumping between people. So different people might exhibit a certain behavior at a certain time, but not all of them at the same time. One at a time. Spread out. So there is a disturbance in the force. Be aware. I was correct about spiritual attacks during winter. When I'm at the gym, I try to wear, this is my turquoise. I try to wear, this is tourmaline. Something protective in there. And to get in there, to work out intensely. So I think that it's important that people prepare mindfully, okay, in body, mind, and spirit. Because if they don't prepare spiritually, they can get overtaken by emotion. So let me summarize this point that I'm going to be making and working on this. We're dealing with the risk of possessions in some people that are unbalanced. People need to invoke spiritual protection where they go. There's going to be disturbances on the earth because of the influence of the sun, and this is going to be a strong cycle. I'm not guaranteeing that we won't have a GSM or a grand solar minimum. Okay, it's not that it's this or that. It's that solar maximum is real. It's a real term. People in the past that I met that told me that solar maximum wasn't a real term were gaslighting me. Did you note how that attack on Yemen on 1/1/2024 was right in between the eclipses? They know what they're doing, and they have something else planned for us around the eclipse. I'm going to be sharing briefly in the future what that man shared with me, but just a few minutes worth. Because he really, I need to respect his wishes, doesn't want to be a part of this warning to America anymore. And you know who I'm talking about, that guy that was on my show. He doesn't want to be a part of this. And so we need to just look at briefly what he had to say and share that with others. And at some point there'll be a transcript. But it's not easy to live on a planet where you're talking about something like that. But like, listen, they've warned of war with China by 2024 from a top U.S. general. China's developed some sort of brain weapons, really freaky stuff. I worry about Portland and human trafficking and the women there, and collapse there when there's no money. And I hear that their cartel is there. I haven't heard from Portlanders. I tell them to email me. They haven't yet, but maybe in time they will. What's important is that they learn and prepare, because a day is coming where they might have to defend their city, and really hashtag defend Portland in a way in which, I haven't really seen from those there. And so I know Portland better than other cities, and Portland people know me more so than other areas, with the exception of maybe some off-grid areas in Colorado. And so I feel that this needs to be done. Even if at times when I'm talking to Portland, Oregon, I feel like maybe they're judging what I'm saying or don't understand what I'm saying because they don't have the same lived experience. Also with some audience members. So I just try to forgive and have patience, because people I know right now are going through heavy, heavy shit, whether they admit it or not. I know the true state of humanity. Humanity is not in a good place. It's been toyed with, and it's being toyed with regards to mind control, implanted thoughts, and the technologies that are around us. And so these things are important. And so I will be back in a future report, and we will be going over the top headlines pointing towards 2025 and other headlines pertaining to the solar flares and mental health. Right? And you can take this information and go to the source information. You can even leave me out of it, and you can wake other people up and help prevent war, prevent suicide, prevent people from flipping out, and encourage people to harness the power of the sun. And again, we'll come back and talk more about that and meditation in the future.